Good morning, everyone. I hope that you have all had an opportunity over the past week to spend some time just being in God's presence. Last week, I shared with you the theme for our Lenten journey, Full to the Brim, an invitation to be authentically who you are, to counter scarcity and injustice, and to pour out grace wherever it is needed. An invitation to live fully, to allow yourself to be filled to the brim with God's lavish love, increasing our capacity to receive and give grace. God dreams of an expansive life for us, and it's our job to live it. This first week of Lent, our sub-theme is Even in the Desert. And on Sunday, you heard the story of Jesus' temptation in the wilderness, a story that reminds us that even in the desert, in spaces cracked dry of life and flourishing, and even when we have felt deserted, abandoned, and alone, God promises to be with us. So what are the desert and deserted spaces you see in your own life and in the world? And how and where is God present in those places? The image I want to share with you today is one by Lauren Wright Pittman, and it's called First Fruits, and is inspired by Deuteronomy chapter 26. And this is what she had to say about this creation. This text from Deuteronomy urges the harvester to ground themselves in ancestral and divine identity. This requires a primal knowledge of the answers to the questions, who are you and whose are you? When the harvester brings the first fruits to the dwelling place of God, they are asked to offer a response to God in which the harvester recounts the Exodus narrative. This narrative defines the harvester and gives understanding, resonance, and purpose to their offering before God. Notice how the response is in first person plural. When the Egyptians treated us harshly and afflicted us by imposing hard labor on us, we cried to the Lord, and the Lord heard our voices and saw our affliction, our toil, and our oppression. The Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, with a terrifying display of power. He brought us into this place and gave us this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. And that is from Deuteronomy 26, verses 6 to 9. I imagine this recitation restores the harvester in their identity as an Exodus person, a wandering alien, oppressed and afflicted, who was heard, seen, and rescued by God. Regardless of whether or not the harvester directly experienced the events of their pronouncements before God, this narrative is where their identity is found, and it changes how they live. Echoes of this narrative live in the harvester. This narrative affirms the truth that the harvester was once an alien, and whatever they have been given and all they are belong to God. Therefore, all of the bounty, the sumptuous, nurturing first fruits of the ground, are to be shared with the aliens who reside among us. What would it look like for you to ground yourself in ancestral and divine identity? How would it change how you live, who you are, whose you are? And the poem that I'm going to share with you this morning is again by Reverend Sarah Speed and is called From Here in the Sand. You've been here before. I squeeze that truth like an orange in my hands, willing some form of comfort to run out, down my wrists, calming these aching nerves. You've been here before, in the wilderness, in the desert, in the place where nothing is what it seems and everything is sharp. You've been here before, so surely you know how hard it is to hold tight to what is real in the middle of a storm. But because you've been here before, I will stand tall. I will sing songs of the river from here in the sand. I will sing songs of the river into the wind. We are invited into our own wilderness journey. We are all on our own wilderness journey, a journey that requires patience as we slowly move forward. This week's theme reminds us that the goal of this journey isn't about getting out of the desert, but an opportunity for us to dwell on our doubts, our fears, anxieties, and brokenness. Standing in solidarity with those trapped in their own wilderness experiences. Can we imagine making a home right here, in this place existing in the tension between desolation and burgeoning possibility? In the desert, we cast aside the temptations of this world and actively engage in the promise that abundant life will always have the final say. So may we hold on to the hope that this truth offers, that love, abundant love, God's abundant love, always has the final word. May you have a blessed week in this wilderness time.